So, well, on Saturday, May 8th, multiple Vancouver police officers and a police helicopter responded to an incident at an East Vancouver industrial space. They shut down an Emily Carr graduation party with about 125 people in attendance. Well, that incident and others like it have frustrated arts promoters in this city for years, and now a local arts programmer is offering free advice to people who are putting on alternative arts events in the hope of avoiding similar situations. Matt Troy is a cultural programmer and planner and curator with Vancouver Art and Leisure. He has started a free consultation service called Red Tape Ambassador. Matt's been good enough to join us in studio. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. How often does stuff like that happen? You have a party, 125 people, grad party, and you get that kind of police reaction, or just police showing up to shut it down at all?
It does happen. It's happening less and less because the city is really trying to understand what we're doing and is trying to work with a lot of events programmers in the city. So it's happening less and less, but there has been a lot of changes to liquor licensing, event licensing, the permitting process for planners. And a lot of people may not know about a lot of the changes that have happened. So I think there's a certain amount of education that needs to be done to educate the public about what is the best route for planners to make their dreams come true.
You know, back in my day, Matt, what you did was you found yourself an empty warehouse, you bought a whole bunch of beer, you put a band in it, and you pretty much let people in for a couple of bucks and you sold them beer all night, and I believe we called that a booze can. Does that still go on?
Well, no, it doesn't go on in that respect anymore because the city has decided, and City Council, Heather Deal in particular, she has worked with local planners in the city, and they've created a program to actually license these art spaces, industrial spaces, and turn them into cultural pop-ups. So we can actually do this. We can do, I don't know, that's one idea of it as a booze can. The other might be, an art show or...
Sure.
There's many uses, and a lot of it is supported through the sale of alcohol. It's an important part of the arts and culture industry. So what the program does and what Heather Deal is working on is creating a new licensing structure so that we can have alternative events throughout the city. And I think that enriches everyone. I think everyone wins in the long run with that.
So then what is your job then when it comes to this?
Well, my job, I think, is to act as a bit of a buffer because there can be a lot of unforeseen consequences of not licensing your event or licensing your event. And you have to know, it's good to, before you make contact, you can always investigate, see what the pros and what the cons are. Part of the program is you're going to bring fire, you're going to bring police, you're going to bring city officials in and to look at the space. And when that happens, there can be unforeseen financial consequences to the landlord. For instance, the building might not be up to some building code. There might not be it might not be wheelchair accessible. There might be other issues that could actually end up costing a lot of money. So it might be better to find a different location or explore a different route.
Right. But do you end up with something that's, prohibitively expensive? I mean, if I want
that's the problem. There's a certain interdepartmental anarchy between the departments. So the fire department, for instance, has a responsibility. The police department has a responsibility, and the city has a responsibility, and city council has a responsibility. And so city council might feel like they want these alternative events to happen in unconventional spaces, but the fire department might feel like, oh, there's a single stair in that warehouse, and that stairway would prevent a wheelchair from entering. Whereas, the city's off licensing nightclubs to have that are full of stairs. There's many liquor primary places that are not wheelchair accessible. So I think we're trying to advise people on what standards they're going to be held to and how they can mitigate that. For instance, if they show up and, the light switches are not properly screwed on, they might call an electrical inspector. The electrical inspector might then condemn your building. I've seen it happen. So you want to make sure you're dotting your T's, dotting your I's, crossing your T's.
You don't want to do it the other way around because then you're definitely not getting a license.
And you don't want to do an event that has no protection.
Right.
You want to, and I think the city wants to work with us. So I think my job is to work with the city, advise them where things are working or not working, and work with the public as to, help them and be an ambassador for them to make contact and bring their events out of the underground.
But if it's such a headache, I mean, because really this could, what you describe sounds like a bureaucratic nightmare, and we need a guy like you to navigate it.
Yeah.
Why then is it important for people to continue to hold these events in, non-traditional locations, warehouses, open spaces, that kind of thing?
Well, I think it enriches the city, and I think City Council agrees. It provides opportunities for artists to do grassroots things in their community. It generates jobs and income for people with, to do their art form and to follow what they love and follow their dreams. I think it's actually could be a model for the entire country. And it's just a matter of, if they say they want us to be able to jump through this red tape and do these events, we need to know what the red tape is, how to cut it, and how to get around it.
I want to ask you one last question, which is, you say that in all of this, there's a certain amount of ageism that's going on here.
Oh, for sure.
What do you mean by that?
Well, certain departments might be all, middle-aged men, perhaps, that might have a certain idea about what electronic music is or what type of activities occur here, or what is moral, or, I know for a fact a venue I'm trying to get licensed has been licensed for different groups, but I'm running into problems all of a sudden right now. So I know that there is the city says yes to some and no to others, and we need to make sure that we're holding them to the same standard for everyone.
And is the city, very last question, yes or no, is the city sincere, do you think, in its efforts to get these things off the ground, to make sure we see more events like this? I
think City Council definitely is. Yeah. I think it's just a matter of all the people below them who are just trying to follow the rules, but someone needs to come in and really make sure that the purpose of the program is doing its intended use and allowing promoters to come out of the underground and make sure they're safe and to enrich the city.
Matt, great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
I appreciate it.
Matt Troy, an alternative arts event promoter and producer with Vancouver Art and Leisure.